Big Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to give you all an update on what's going on with the Glag Saga right now. I had a bunch of people that wanted me to reboot that, and actually at this point I was kind of in favor of it because I have other additional things I can put in there and I can improve the sound quality and everything. So I decided I would do that, and now unfortunately apparently too many people have seen it already or whatever, so the viewership on it is really low. And as much as I would love to keep rebooting them and get all the way up to the end of them, do everything in order and even add in some new stuff that wasn't there, it's dragging the algorithms on my channel down. So if you guys don't show up and watch these things, it just makes YouTube not recommend my new videos to people, and it destroys my channel. And again, you know, the way they've got their algorithm set now, it's the views and interaction during the show plus whatever happens an hour afterwards. That's what determines how much they're going to promote it. So, you know, again, people, if you like my show a lot, please try and be there while it's on. You know, if you can't watch it, turn it on, just let it play in the background, whatever, it's getting me views. But interaction helps a lot. Hitting that like button actually does really matter. Leaving comments after the show really matters. If you can be there during the show in the chat room, that really matters. So I need your help. And again, you know, it's going to be a case of, you know, maybe I can release the rest of them in the future, but unless there's not going to, if there's not going to be any viewers there, I basically can't do it. So if you guys want to see, you know, retooled, rebuilt, upgraded, and new additional stuff toward the end of it, it's up to you to make sure that there's views happening on this stuff. So there's not going to be one on Wednesday, which by the time this show comes out, you already probably noticed that. And whether there's part 5 coming out this coming Wednesday or not kind of depends on you guys. So give me some feedback, give the shows lots of views, and, you know, if we can pull out of this nosedive that the channel's in because of me trying to reboot the Glag Saga, then I can keep rebooting it. But other than that, you can always watch the old versions of the episodes on the Glag Saga playlist on my channel. So now I think MK Davis is in the middle of doing some kind of a medical thing there, triaging himself.
I am. Because I'm eating my own cooking.
Don't eat your cookies. Damn it, MK. You leave them for Santa Claus. So, yeah, during the last show that we were doing, MK obliquely mentioned something that was really cool about a migratory path. And I didn't get the pictures from him in time to put him on the last show. So I thought I'd let him bring that up again so I can actually show you pictures of what it was that he was talking about. And then we've got an update on the drive-by shitter fox, too. So so if you remember last time, and you probably don't because it was just kind of like quickly went through, we were talking about how there's these migratory paths for animals, and after a long, long time, it just becomes ingrained in the next generation always wants to use the same path and stuff. And that includes if you decide to do something dumb like building a town in the middle of their path.
Yeah, well, I tell you, it's whatever. It's what's in their head. That at one time that town wasn't there, and they made this migration from the top of the mountains down into the valleys seasonally twice a year. And then one day people moved in and built a town. And it's still genetically, it's what they call acquired genetics.
Yeah.
It got written into the DNA to do that, to follow that path, and they do it anyway. And so a couple of times of the year, people have to get out of their way and just let them come through town. And they get all up in people's driveways and carports. I saw one up in a carport, just looking around, you know. Roosevelt elk, and I thought to myself, because I've never hunted elk, but I said, well, I don't know what the big deal is here. Because I mean, he's there and I'm here, and we're just looking at each other.
Doesn't seem like much of a challenge.
Yeah, well, not at that particular time. No, you get on their migration route.
MK's like, shit, if I had a spear here right now, I could go elk hunting. They're so close.
I tell you what, it was a beautiful thing, not just because the animals were beautiful, but it was also a beautiful thing because of what was taking place. You know, to imagine there was that kind of complexity. You know, that there was an actual prescription for the animals what to do.
Yeah.
That they follow. It's amazing. They're not just wandering around. You know, they're going, you know, from top to bottom along the same route that they did for 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. Or probably a lot longer than that even.
A lot longer than that, yeah.
But still, that doesn't explain, you know, instinctual behavior does not explain the evil drive-by shitting fox and his returning besmirchment of the dog dish, which we have a picture of.
I'm actually looking for some help on that one. I don't know what prompted this animal to do what he did or continues to do. But he just runs right from out of the field of view, right into the front of the camera, and he either poops or pees in the dog food bowl, and then takes off.
Hasty getaway too. Runs in, does his dirty work, besmirches the bowl, runs away.
That's hilarious to me.
So I'm not thinking that's instinctual. That's not instinctual behavior. He's got a grudge against your dog.
Yeah, it's something like that. It may explain stuff that goes on in people's minds sometimes. The opportunity is there. Opportunistic. They wrote their own script.
Yeah, but he isn't opportunistically eating the dog's dog food. He's opportunistically peeing on his cornflakes.
He's making sure nothing else eats it.
Including the dog. Oh, my God. Weird animal antics. So, yeah, we're having some unusual weather down there, too. I was just talking to last week's guest, Kristi, last night. And I got her to go out, walk around a little bit and film for us, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second, some of it at least, because this is very unusual circumstance. She lives in New Orleans, in the outskirts suburbs of New Orleans, and they got a foot of snow. So I got her to go put the snow boots on, walk around and film that. And of course, being that it's New Orleans, nobody knows how to drive in the snow. So they basically put out a warning, stay off the streets. Nobody's allowed to drive. Stay home. So she's out there walking around down the middle of the street, filming the snow, walking through the heavy snow.
Hi, Duke.
Hey. So your down there is looking kind of different.
I know, right? You always tell me it's cold up there, but you would snow and I laugh at you, right? Well, guess what? I got karma set on me. Look at this.
That's one night snow. You got basically a foot of snow.
Yeah, look. Look at that big mound.
Yeah, it's not going up to your knee or anything.
Oh no, that it does. Trust me, I'm not walking down that right now.
Oh, you got to show us where the deep part is, where it goes up to your knee. You'll just never get another chance.
Oh, I know, huh? Let me go. Let me put some thicker boots on, if you don't mind. That's my poor four-wheeler. Look, it's covered up by the snow.
No, that's not a four-wheeler. That's just a snowbank.
No, it's my four-wheeler. You can see the tire right there. See it?
Oh, you're right. I think I see a tire peeking out of the snowbank. There could actually be something there.
I know, right?
All right. Kristi's going to go change into snow boots, and then we're going to come back and show you some more back with Kristi. She's got her Arctic expedition gear on here. Okay. As much as they have normally available in New Orleans. Oh, God, she's got to wade through that. Look at that. It's almost up to the top of her boots.
They are.
Keep going. Keep proving it. It's not just one little weird patch of snow where it blew in extra deep or anything. Yeah, you don't get to do this very often in New Orleans.
No, you don't.
And no, it's getting fairly deep there. Okay, here we go. Okay, now show us where you are. Oh, you got like a snowbank there.
Yeah. That's my mama's van.
Okay.
That's the
Well,
street.
Somebody went by on the street and mushed it down into some nice slushy ice, it looks like.
Yeah, that's where I'm going right now. Let's see. Get the snow off the boots.
Is it slush or do you have actual ice?
No, it's slush.
That's easier to walk on. When
Yeah.
it becomes pure sheer ice, then it's like whoop, splat. So where's the deepest snow part around here? Have you got any good snowbanks you can show off to anybody?
Yeah, right
Okay.
there by the side of my truck.
There you
See it?
go. Well, yeah, that isn't from shoveling though, right? That's from drifted in like that.
Yeah, it drifted in like that.
Well, you got to wade through that on your way back in and show us how deep it is.
That's my neighbor. You want me to go through the snowbank again?
Because you know your great grandkids will never believe this unless you have video evidence of it.
I know, right? Here I go. Oh, shit.
You'll be like, you kids have it so easy. We used to have blizzards down here in New Orleans when I was younger.
I'm going right back through it. Look.
Okay, now stop for a minute so we can see how deep it is on your leg. Yeah, it's fairly deep, deep little pile of snow there.
Yep, and there's my truck.
Kristi's truck covers. What is the temperature there right now?
29 degrees.
29. I'm up here in western Montana in the mountains, and it's 24 degrees. So damn near the same temperature. You've got about the same amount of snow on the ground as we have up here. But it took us a few days to get that much, and you got yours in one night.
Yeah, we got ours in one day, yes. This is crazy. You know that? I never in a million years expected snow like this. Ever.
When's the last time you saw this much snow there?
Never. This is the first time. We've had snow, but not this deep. About 3 years ago, I was at work and it was snowing on us, and I was out there and I did a video, and I was like, "Man, this is crazy." So I slept most of the day today, and when I woke up, my dad says, "Kristi, look out the window." I looked out the window, I couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped. I'm going, "Huh?"
Yep, Duke sent a present.
How?
Get down lower so you can see you. Hello.
Hey, look.
Show them what's going on down there. They got a foot of snow last night. Yeah, that's why we're videotaping it.
Got more snow than us.
You hear what he said? They got more snow than us.
I know, right? Ain't that crazy?
Well, New Orleans is an unusual place anyway. They have a law down in there in New Orleans. It's against the law to tie an alligator to a fire hydrant. And somebody had to do that.
No, they don't have that.
Time, So
I bet they don't have that law in L.A.
You kind of expect the unusual down there, and the last few times it snowed that way. I told my wife, I said, we're going to have to go south to see the snow.
Yeah. Yeah, that cold air mass pushed all the humidity out of the atmosphere right down to New Orleans, and it dumped a ton of snow on them.
We got a lot of cold weather, but we didn't get any snow.
Yep. Lucky.
Well, I'm not, as a grown man, yeah. When I was a kid, boy, I would have cried tears if we missed this snow,
Yeah.
All the kids love it.
Well, Kristi says, that's the most snow she's ever seen on the ground there in her lifetime, so.
My wife had taken a travel nursing job down on the coast, at a little hospital there in Gulfport. And just about that time, the COVID hit. And they moved Mardi Gras to Biloxi.
Good Lord.
And you talking about a messed up place.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't go anywhere around there where people were throwing these beads and stuff, and parades, all kind of parades. They just shifted it over.
I wonder if they got a law down there about not putting any of those parade beads on alligators.
They probably did. I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, anyway, getting away from Louisiana and their whole horrible Arctic weather that they're having down there in New Orleans. Never thought I'd be giving this kind of a weather report. Antarctic weather, yeah. Well, what we're here to talk about today on part 3 of M.K. Davis in search of Jarbidge Cannibal Giants. And I'm kind of excited about this one because where we're talking about here is one of those places that most people don't go to because it's literally the end of the road. It's a really long drive down a crappy dirt road for many, many, many miles. When you finally get there, there's no road going anywhere else. You're just going back again. So it's not like heavily touristed. And Kelly Shaw from Rocky Mountain Sasquatch has been there multiple times and used to actually have game cams up there, but he came and took them all out because it's too far to go to service the damn things. So this is really in the middle of nowhere, area also known as the Canyon of the Evil Giants. And MK was kind enough to go up there in search of to see if he could find any of those cannibal giants with, you had Dangerous Don Monroe with too, right?
Yeah, I had Don Monroe and Ken Iddens.
Okay.
So we had a little expedition group up there. It was really interesting too. I mean, it was a fascinating place. I'd love to go back.
On the northern edge of the Great Basin area of the United States is a wondrous region known as the Owyhee country. Everything is evidence of early human struggles of existence. Conventional theories of wandering people from Siberia date these struggles to the last 12,000 years. Surface evidence clearly indicates the presence of hunter-gatherers to 10 or more thousand years ago. Some more significant may have prospered in the Owyhee country so many millennia ago. While scholars refuse to consider any possibilities for existence of a society on our continent, some Native Americans preserve oral traditions which speak of a time very long ago when their ancestors came into conflict with giants that roamed the region. Tribal accounts show some resemblance to biblical stories of a pre-flood world inhabited by giants. For example, Genesis tells of the Nephilim, supposedly of great size and strength. Giants were portrayed with an insatiable thirst for blood, and because of this savage lust, were violently swept away by a great deluge. Most of them perished, but a few survivors supposedly made their way to various parts of the world. Scientists dealing with the hard data naturally dismiss such stories as mere fables. They explain widespread belief in giants found among cultures around the planet as the result of collective unconscious or universal fear of overwhelming forces beyond their control. These same conventional archaeologists likewise deny the occurrence of any natural catastrophe, such as a deluge, powerful enough to obliterate a previous world order. Geologists, however, continue to uncover more evidence establishing that truly cataclysmic flooding did indeed take place with the close of the last ice age. About 12,000 years ago, when areas inhabited by early human population centers in Europe and North America were overwhelmed by major flood events. violence of these catastrophes in the 10 or more thousand years that separate their time from ours have obscured almost all physical evidence of that pre-Diluvian era. But more imperishable than the material artifacts are the tribal memories of ancestors that actually survived. Something of those memories may have survived in the Owyhee country. There, a river, reputed to be one of the deepest on the North America continent, is surrounded by walls so steep that sunlight never penetrates to the banks far below. The Brignoux River was named after a French fur trader in the mid-17th century. Near its headwaters stretches the legendary Land of the Giants, who terrorized Shoshone forefathers, frightening them from their ancestral hunting grounds. These were found in the Pine Nut Mountains along the Jarbidge River. Here, the huge TSAWHAWBITTS, evil spirits in superhuman form, ravaged the Indians. Their old stories tell that these giants possessed an appetite for human flesh and could cross creeks with a single step or scale mountains in a few strides. They chased and captured people, putting hapless victims in huge baskets which they carried to the mountaintop for cannibal feasts. Some TSAWHAWBITTS gazed from a single eye and hopped around on one leg. They were sometimes observed high on the rocky peaks, digging for unknown objects. People learned to stay away from these lofty crests because the giants, in addition to their prestigious size, were known to exercise supernatural powers. They could paralyze their prey with a glance from their large red glowing eyes, then harpooning their quarry with razor-sharp hooks. The natives so feared such peaks that present-day natives still refer to central Idaho's Sawtooth Mountains as the Kawapakan Kani, or Giant's House. A Shoshone version describes Tuwapiti, a rocky giant with pitched hands that fed upon human flesh. Tribal elders repeatedly warned their young to be careful around the pools of water at the springs, as these were dangerous areas inhabited by evil-spirited giants. Staring into the water, allowing one's image to be reflected, could conjure the giants to the surface. The Shoshone Legends adds that the giants could be killed by fire or ice, but using these weapons took enormous courage and cunning. If a TSAWHAWBITTS was found in its deep mountain cave, a large fire was built at the entrance and allowed to eventually burn inward until the giant was consumed. Other stories tell of the use of ice. One night, a TSAWHAWBITTS kidnapped a little girl and promptly ate her. In its greed, the giant returned for the parents to add to its bag. The TSAWHAWBITTS soon found the father, chased, and captured him, then put him in the basket. But on the way back to the mountain peak, the man escaped and ran ahead to the cave. A freezing blizzard began outside while he filled the cave's entrance with trees and branches. When the TSAWHAWBITTS returned, he tried to free the obstructed materials, but they were lodged in too tightly. During the night, the father could hear the giant whining. By morning, the sounds had ceased. The TSAWHAWBITTS was frozen to death. Tales such as these have been told and retold for countless generations in tribal communities. Folkish memories of events surrounding the evil giants lived on through these narratives, which are still considered factual by many Native Americans. Like all myths, they undoubtedly have at least a seed of truth buried deep within the age-old accounts. In any case, oral tradition eventually materialized into numerous interpretations and continues to elude academic scholars, who sometimes describe the petroglyphs as the meaningless scratching of bored Indians. Several anthropologists have used terms such as idle scrawls and doodles to characterize native rock art. But for a pre-literate people, such images still resonate with tribal memories of a time in the very deep past when giants and monsters were purged from the earth by a great flood. These petroglyphs are the only memorials preserved in the otherwise incomprehensible marks of ancient rock art and the minds of those who maintain the old ways.
Parts of it are really unearthly looking. Some of the hoodoos and stuff that they've got there that just jut out of the cliff sides and everything. It looks like a set from the early Star Trek TV series or something.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very. It looks like to me like. Remember that movie? What was it? 10 million years BC or something?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's real primitive looking. A lot of these big standing rock columns that look like figures. And that's the theory is, if you read about Jarbidge, is they think that's where the myth of the stone giants and the cannibal giants come from, is those standing stone spires. But that's not what people say who go up in there.
No.
Let
me back up a bit.
Again, boots on the ground mean a lot.
Hell yeah. Let me back up a bit on that one.
There was
I had a guest on
elk
the show
hunters up there that got in some real trouble with
had
living.
a guest on the show who is a pastor in I think it's Twin Falls. Anyway, it's over by Hell's Canyon, right? Same place Evil Cannibal jumped over. Well, according to them, there's all kinds of nasty cryptids living in that canyon, including giants. And that canyon, through other ancillary canyons, actually connects to Jarbidge, to the canyons over there. And then if you go further south from there, you're down in more connections to the area around the Lovelock Cave. So it seems like these giants actually may have come from further north and then just migrated down that area. So there's that whole connection all the way down that riverway from the Hell's Canyon down to Jarbidge and then all the way down to near the Lovelock Cave down there.
But you know what? Somebody first tells a story like Chief Winnemucca's daughter, Sarah Winnemucca. It sounds like, well, she's just repeating some fantastic tale. But then you look into it and it starts to make sense, because they said they came down the Humboldt River, which goes all the way up to the Jarbidge Wilderness. And if they come down that, they end up down there in Lovelock at the lake. Down
if they go further up, they go up to Hell's Canyon.
And geographically, it makes sense. We didn't find we didn't have an actual sighting, but we did find some evidence. The best one I have is really the GoPro shot of the tracks. So when you get a chance, you can show those.
I'll just be showing them while you're talking about it, unless there's audio with it.
Yeah, there's audio with it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at it here. So where did you find the tracks at exactly?
At the base of the Matterhorn.
Oh, crap.
Matterhorn is a prominent peak around there that there was two guys that climbed it not too long ago. It's got it's sort of like the Half Dome in Yosemite. It's got a
Right.
big chunk missing out of the top, and it's straight down cliffs. So you climb up to the top, and you can fall 1,000 feet. You know, but all around that mountain, and I think it goes over 10,000 feet. Is Sawhawbitts sightings or you know, whatever they go by.
Yeah.
The elk hunters said that they felt sure that there wasn't a one under 10 feet. They were surrounded all night. And so, you know,
Well, we don't know if there's.
I believe them.
I don't know if there still are any giants there, but there's no doubt there's Bigfoot there.
Well, you be the judge on this track. I don't know. You know, I'm not an expert in that. The track was curved. It had a curve to it. So what does that?
Female Bigfoot.
Female Bigfoot. Okay.
Yep. They got wider hips. They have to throw their foot farther in order to bring it around. And consequently, it tends to bend their foot banana shaped after a while.
Well, this one looked like that.
Yeah.
But look for yourself just take a look. You can see.
We don't know for sure.
I'm not an analyst, you know, when it comes to those things. I'm trying to learn myself. And so I found that if you go to those places, that you tend to get luckier than if you stay in your living room.
Yeah. Yeah. Not many people have
luck.
Not many people have Bigfoot sightings or find tracks in their living room. You kind of need to go out in the woods and do that mostly.
So if you found a track in Jarbidge Wilderness, I don't think anybody would be surprised that knew anything about it, you know, that knew what the wilderness was. It's God's country for sure.
And there is a lot of wilderness there. This is the end of the road town in the middle of frickin' nowhere.
Rocky Mountain Sasquatch. Kelvin Guthrie sent us a screenshot from one of our Cannibal Giant expedition videos to the Jarbidge Wilderness area called TSAWHAWBITTS by Native Americans, meaning cannibal giants. The First Nations people warned early explorers and settlers to avoid this area, and they avoided it themselves. During this investigation on the mountain, where some campers were recently harassed by 3 Bigfoot and ultimately forced to abandon their camp, we found 3 different sized Bigfoot tracks. Because of this, we want to take a look at the section of video where Kelvin got the screenshot. The subject is in the video for nearly 20 seconds, so we will show it zoomed in and then run the original for you all to take a look at.
This is why I love walking through these snow drifts. What's funny, it's named TSAWHAWBITTS. TSAWHAWBITTS, cannibal giants. Has a long history, even back with the ancient Native Americans, of Bigfoot sightings here. That's a wolf, that's a moose, that's an elk, that's a deer. We find something that looks like Bigfoot and we're trying to blame it on people. Even though we'll sit and identify everything when it comes to Bigfoot, we still want to say
It looks
from
like it's
10
got
feet away.
frickin' toes. Look, it's bigger.
I left my tape measure back at the vehicle.
Potentially blowout, damaged foot off to the side of it. I'm sorry, but that looks more like a barefoot print to me. Not a bear print, barefoot print.
Yeah, I see the toes.
You're looking at 12 inches. It's a small track. 5.5, 5.25. About a 4-inch hill.
We point out the toes.
But the big thing that, and you need to really get down here to look at this.
It's zoomed in, dude. It's in there.
See the rub? You can see individual toes where they rubbed up into the mud. That's what's impressive about this print. is that, I mean, it's just pretty distinct. It's a smaller one, obviously, juvenile.
But we just found a 17 and a 14 in the snow. And the guys that got harassed by the Bigfoot 20 months ago said it was three of them. So there's 3 footprints that we just found all together. 2 in the snow, 1 in the mud. Not saying they're the ones that harassed those guys. This is why I love walking through these snow drifts. What's funny is this is how skeptical we are. Even though we're up to a place where that's named TSAWHAWBITTS. TSAWHAWBITTS, Cannibal Giants. Has a long history, even back with the ancient Native Americans, of Bigfoot sightings here. A Bigfoot sighting 20 months ago. We come up here and we're like, oh yeah, that's a wolf, that's a moose, that's an elk, that's a deer. We find something that looks like Bigfoot and we're trying to blame it on people. Even though we'll sit and identify everything when it comes to Bigfoot, we still want to say that's a person. And the odd thing is there's no tracks coming this direction. You can't drive in from that direction and walk that way. You're gonna have to walk from that direction this way and go back, and we're only seeing the footprints going that direction. Two sets. One's 17, one's 14.
That's a hell of a good point.
This image is inconclusive yet interesting. Hope you enjoyed a look around a place named TSAWHAWBITTS, meaning cannibal giants in the Shoshone language. It was later changed to Jarbidge, renamed by gold rush settlers, and that name actually means monster that lurks in the canyon.
They have another range of mountains down south of there a little bit. They also have the same type stuff going on. It's called the Ruby Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the giants and the Bigfoot and all in there too. And Humboldt goes right to the base of those, right beside them. So you know, it's a string of giants.
Yeah, you can basically,
string of abodes.
if you're going to take a map and start putting down a little, red marker everywhere that there were historically giant sightings, it makes this trail going back up to Hell's Canyon.
Yeah, it sure does, and it comes down to Lovelock.
Yeah. And just in case you're wondering, it goes north of there too, because we still get reports of giants and footprints being found in the mountain ranges up near the Canadian border.
Well, I personally think that there should be a professional person looking for them, but there's not. So I go looking.
I know. Somebody's got to do it.
So
yeah.
I come back with, sometimes I find something, that may settle a question or two, or it may cause you to ask more questions, maybe scratch your head a little bit more. But it adds to the cumulative knowledge. Before long, things start to make sense.
Well, if nothing else, you can at least go, well, there's all these rumors and legends and stories and reports and everything coming out of this area. I'm going to go there and see if there's any there. And that's what you're actually establishing in a lot. You don't necessarily have to film a Bigfoot or a giant, but if you find some secondary evidence they're there, well, they're probably there. You're finding tracks and stuff, yeah, they're probably there.
Yeah, the substrate where we found these tracks, it's different from here in Mississippi. It didn't have much moisture in it, and it wasn't clay. It was like a powdery. For lack of a better word, it looked volcanic.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the regolith on the moon.
Right.
Something
not
like
enough
that.
Moisture to clump or anything. It's just dust.
Yeah. Well, it didn't fall apart or anything, but you could still see how deep it was and everything.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't like it is, with had the ability to mold tight to the skin. You just put a print there, outline, and a depth. You get the depth.
Same thing up here. I mean, this is, the area I live in has, I think we're 2 inches annual rainfall over. If we had that many, 2 inches less, we would be a desert. So it doesn't get wet ground up here very often. So when they step on something, they're going to crush the ground. They're going to leave a rough outline of their foot, and that's all you're going to get, unless you can get one to be kind enough to step in like some, mushy sand right next to a river or something. Doesn't happen very much. 99 out of 100 tracks that you find is just going to be a foot-shaped crater in the ground, basically, and that's all you're going to get.
I got the impression that it wasn't very old, and Don said he didn't think it was old. He said it was like maybe yesterday's track.
Yeah.
So it was headed toward the Matterhorn.
Oh, okay.
Up the hill. When we actually talked about going up to the Matterhorn, and Don had a big hole in his leg from a snake bite. And I had what do you call that? The lower anterior descending artery, the Widowmaker, was 97% stopped up. So we were talking about going 10,000 feet up that mountain. Glad we didn't do it. And since then, Don has healed his leg up, and I've gotten a brand new stent in mine. So next time we go, maybe we give it a try. If we don't make it by 5,000, we may still make it to where they're at. They're somewhere up there.
Now I'm going to get you up here this summer in search of Montana mountain giants, and take you up to my main research area. You should be in good enough shape to survive that now. Keith Crabtree survived it when he had to be checking his vitals constantly. What's my pulse rate? Do I have any oxygen in my bloodstream? How fast is me? Like 40 feet, and then he'd have to sit down and rest again because too high altitude. We had, fires going on, so there's all kinds of smoke in the air.
It makes a difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in way better shape now. I think he's lost like 90 pounds since he was up here.
Even at Bluff Creek, when you're in Bluff Creek, you're not on you have to go higher and then come down into Bluff Creek. But it's still at a pretty good altitude there at Bluff Creek.
Yeah.
It's 2,800 feet or something like that. I can tell.
Yeah.
The air is not the same as it was back down in Orleans.
Yeah.
Keith,
I had him up at 6,500 feet, so and he's used to sea level, so he's like, it sure is hard to walk around and do anything up here.
It takes a lot longer to do it. You can do it. You just have to kind of walk and stop. Bigfoots don't seem to have any problem with it.
No, they're used to that. I think they're adapted for higher altitude anyway, it seems like.
They don't break stride.
No, they can run right up something that's almost vertical, and they're not going to get winded or anything. So getting anyway back to Jarbidge, where we should be on this thing now, you got some other interesting pictures and whatnot while you were there, and one of them's a gigantic cave.
Yeah, there was a couple of real big caves. I think I mentioned to you that 747 looked like it could go through one of them, and the other one, I sent you the wrong one because it was the smaller one, and it's still real big. But
good. So you're going to send me the other one so we can include that too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did. You have to check your email. You probably got it. I sent it to you.
Okay. Well, continue on.
Okay. It's and one of them is a Cessna. They've been up in there for a long time. I can tell you that. So that's one of those places that if it weren't for gold being up in there, there wouldn't be nobody there now.
Yeah. You should mention that to everybody exactly what the genesis of that little town was.
Gold. It's still got gold. There's still a mine up there. You have a Cessna.
That was the Cessna size one that you sent me originally.
Right, and I sent you the 747 one in the email, so it should be there. If it's not, let me know.
It's like I told you on the phone when I got that first one, I'm like, you could fly a 747 in there. It might maybe take the wings off as it's flying in, but
I'm telling you that and this is places that are easy to see. You know, if you went over the next ridge sideways to where the unexplored part is, no telling what you see.
oh, I've seen a map of that before. It's actually named "No One Goes Here."
I can understand that. It's real popular up in there in the summertime for fishing for trout. That people will be up in there with their RVs, camping along the river, fishing. You know, small trout. They're just not a real big river.
Right.
It's just as beautiful as it can be.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is not what we're used to in Mississippi. We have our water goes very slow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's lazy and muddy.
Yeah.
And you know, that type of thing, swampy. But you know, from mid Mississippi on down, the hydraulics all change. The bottom of the Mississippi River makes it to sea level before the top does.
Right. Then everything gets real stagnant and slow.
Yeah,
flowing.
then it starts these weird currents and stuff. And
then you end up in the Honey Island Swamp where we were last episode.
You get down there, I mean, the water's just kind of ooze.
Water.
You know, because they're already at sea level.
Yeah.
The only thing making it go in onto the Gulf is water coming from behind.
Pushing it.
Pushing it. Yeah, that's some vast swamps. But up there, you know, it's snow melt and it comes off those mountains blind.
And it is colder than hell. And it's same thing up here, and we're even further north. And in August, you can get into one of these rivers, and it's all snow melt. It's coming off a glacier. So it's the coldest damn thing you ever felt. You can't even believe it's flowing. It should be solid because it's the same temperature as ice.
That type of fish just loves it. It thrives in that kind of water.
Yep.
Those little trout.
Yep. And the other thing is that, you know, I grew up in northern Minnesota where you've got tons of waterways and rivers and everything, but you also got tons of bogs with tannin in them. So even if the water is faster flowing, it's dark brown. You can't see through it. It looks like it's made of mud, even if there's no mud in it. And up here, it's exactly the opposite. The water's transparent. You can see the bottom of the whole river and see if there's any fish in it. You
know, the Honey Island area, it's got lots of tannin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a real strong tea.
Yep.
Yeah, and we all hiked up this canal, and we made it to a spillway. I had my sons, and they had a friend with them, and they kept talking about how pretty this place was. It was just like paradise, just like paradise. And my son and his friend went behind the waterfall. And they were sitting there watching the water come down. And a full beer came over the spillway, and that boy caught it.
Nice.
And he popped the top, and he says, "This really is paradise."
Ask it, it shall be given unto you. That's hilarious.
But yeah, you might as well have some fun when you go.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, clear, beautiful water, brutally cold. Even during the summer and it's 100 degrees, you're not sure you want to go inner tubing on it.
Around here, we got a lot of duckweed that floats on top. It's a green kind of moss.
Yep.
It's kind of grainy looking.
Yep.
Alligator, you can't see an alligator. You know, he gets up in there and just puts his eyes through it and his nose, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you better just not be swimming around in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, thank God I was used to really cold water in northern Minnesota when I was a kid, or I would never attempt to swim in any of the rivers around here, no matter what time of the summer it is. Some of them are just way too cold all the time. Other ones actually get a little bit warm. You can kind of swim in them. But anyway, getting back to Jarbidge now, the stories from the natives go back there to the Tsawhawbitts, the giants that were in the area that actually ate people. And so you kind of wonder if that was like in terms of history, not all that far back that they were moving into those areas. And it seems like the Bigfoot were probably there already, because they seem like they've been everywhere. So it was a gold rush town originally, and then it wasn't like enough to sustain a good sized town. So
it was pretty heavy at one time. You know how it goes. I think most towns become ghost towns, but Jarbidge managed to. They maintained their infrastructure, and they petitioned the government to separate it from the rest of the national forest and let them have it as a town, and they did. And the government's been trying to close them down ever since.
and I know they still got their old original jail there, and some people drive up there all the way up there just to look at that and film it.
They got a shovel up there with a 6-foot blade. It's a regular dig hand shovel. It's supposed to be like a world record or something. It's got a little story with it, but I don't remember what it says. Yeah. If you see over 50 people, then they got tourists, because about 50 people live there.
Pretty small town. And then you have to go how far over the mountains and through the godforsaken middle of nowhere to get to a road or a town again?
Well, it depends. It's seasonal.
Yeah.
You have a road they keep open from the north, and then the road from the south it shuts down in the winter. They don't plow it or anything. And that's the road that goes by Elko down to by the Ruby Mountains and go. It comes on out to. You can go to Winnemucca that way. There was a man and his wife. They were from back east, and they had one of them off-road BMWs. That they tour the United States and see it, the rural areas. Get off the paved road.
Yep.
They came up and they had them a wreck. That gravel got deep and it got to shifting on him and turned the thing over and broke her leg. Well, she didn't know it was broken. And they got her back on there and made it to Jarbidge. And they were in the saloon down there. And we came in and we talked to them and found out. Now, this was not me and Don and Ken. This was me and Eric Smith. So I went a couple of times. And Eric found out that she had a messed up leg, and he says, "You can't get back on. Don't get back on that motorcycle." He got her in our car and took her to the hospital all the way out, and her husband rode out ahead of us, broken leg. She did not go to that hospital. She got on a plane.
Oh, good God! Boy, she got a big paid threshold.
Went to a hospital at home, and husband rode the motorcycle back.
Wow.
Now they were at the most remote place you could possibly be to have a wreck.
Yeah. Other than Alaska.
If you can't help yourself, you can't help. There is no help.
Yeah.
They weren't even in town. They were up on the mountains.
Where the hell out in the middle of nowhere, of course. Good Lord. So it was the Shoshone tribe used to be the ones around there, correct?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah.
And then the original name for it, the cannibal giant there, Tsawhawbitts, that got corrupted and turned into Jarbidge. That's where the name of the town came from.
Exactly.
The canyon, the evil giants in the canyon of the evil giants. That's what they.
Well, I mean, you get a bunch of people in there, gold miners that came from all over the place, and they say, "Well, where are you at?" I'm at Sawhawbitts there, and it just ends up being Jarbidge.
Yeah.
They just gave up and left it at, just says we'll just call it Jarbidge.
Close enough.
And I bought a sticker from there. I think I'll show it to you
Oh yeah, show us the sticker.
if I can get over there. Can you see it? Oh, right there. Can you see it?
What the hell's a
It's a
Jarbidge?
Jarbidge. I bought that at the store there. I don't think they fully know.
Well, at least they
Great
got a
place.
sense of humor.
Those people are super nice. I mean, they're glad to have you anytime. Went up in there and I saw a UPS truck and a postal service truck.
Do they have a diner there?
They do. The
So if
outdoor
you-
inn.
You drive all the damn way up there to look for Cannibal Giants. You at least can get a meal while you're there.
You can get one, and they have a saloon and a diner and a motel and gas pumps.
Nice. It sounds like they're set up for people to come visit. So
And
don't
they
be
have-
afraid to go visit there. There haven't been any reports of any people being eaten by giants up there in quite a while.
Well, I don't know if they would even know it if it happened.
Yeah.
You kind of keep up with your own little census of people you bring in there.
Hmm.
If you got anybody missing, you call David Velites.
and he'll quick add it to his latest book.
Yeah, that's always on people's minds these days. He really put that on the map. Missing persons.
Yeah.
I went deer hunting by myself, and I went way back in the swamps, and the cloud came over and it started raining, and then it's turned to ice,
Oh crap.
and then I was soaked to the bone, and I was so cold I was just violently shaking, and I made it back to my truck, and I could not turn the key in the lock because I had no strength at all in my fingers. They would just fold.
Numb.
And finally, a man came by and he saw my predicament and he opened my door for me and said, "Well, you need anything else?" I said, "No, sir. I sure appreciate it. You saved me." He drives off and I put the key in the ignition and I couldn't turn the ignition. But I managed to get the butts of my palms around. The Chevrolet had that yoke
Yeah.
around the keys, and
Yeah.
I got that and did it like that and cranked it, and that's saved the day. But that's Mississippi.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it would be like up there in those areas.
Yeah. So safety first, safety last, safety always. Remember, that's part of the rules over here on World Bigfoot Central. And speaking of safety, while you're up there investigating Cannibal Giants, did you have any kind of protection with you?
Well, Don, you'll see in some of those videos. Don had a pistol, and Ken had a pistol. I didn't have anything,
So those two guys were strapped at least.
but I was never away from them. So, they had the skills.
Yeah. Well, if you'd actually run into a cannibal giant, I don't know how much good a couple pistols would have done you anyway. But
I seriously doubt if it would have, but it would carry the day.
yeah,
You might scare them or something. But
you might, maybe, hopefully. So, did you guys hear any vocalizations or anything like that while you were up there?
we did hear some vocalizations, and it was kind of long drawn out type stuff. There again, up there toward the Matterhorn. Which that seemed to be the big draw. That's the big draw now, is to just forget everything else and go straight to the Matterhorn. You know, put all the efforts to that, to get up as far as you can. And that's where you're probably gonna find them. Whatever's up there.
I got it. This is a very wide angle camera, so it doesn't have a zoom. Darn. Can't see it there. There they are. Okay, got them finally. All right. Now we're headed yonder way, and that's up and away. Not far to the Matterhorn. Are you sure Ken came on a ship with us? I'm not really sure. Maybe it was a dream. We just dreamed Ken brought us in here. Is that thing still on? Yes, it's on. You got anything you'd like to say? Yeah, this is the most beautiful place in Idaho. I know of them, one of them. There's more places equally as well known, better known, but the Matterhorn, of course, has a real meaning to people of history, historical interest. It's a gold mining country of yesteryear. I've been here years and years ago as a kid when I was about 16, 17 years old, but I didn't get this far up. Now, M.k. is enjoying this to the nth degree. It's not like the swamps. No, no. The swamps are nice too. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I would not ever have dreamed that I could have made it up this hill, this mountain, this far. So I'm very happy. And we might get to summit today. We might make it. Oh, summit? I doubt that seriously. You know, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. It took two really healthy people 2 days. Who are they? They're on YouTube. I don't think they faked it. I mean, it was real. Is that camera on? Yeah, it's on. Yeah. Anyway, people, you should come here and bring your own water. Yeah, and food. Jarbidge.
Well, there's not a ton of people that are trying to climb that Matterhorn, and maybe that's for the best, because if there was, maybe
anybody since those two guys.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's too far out in the middle of nowhere, too dangerous. You know, there's even some mountains that are way further out in the middle of nowhere that probably get a lot more traffic than that thing does.
It's got trails, you know, where people have gone up in there and they wore down a path.
Right.
But you got to remember that stuff don't just grow back real fast there.
Yeah.
It's not the same as a trail in Florida.
Right.
You know, where if you see a trail in Florida, there's a lot of people walking it, because if there's not, it grows up fast.
Yeah.
Up there, you know, if somebody walked it once or twice a year, you can still see where the first person walked. So
where were you at when you heard the vocalizations?
I was camping
You were actually camped. Was it
Yeah.
at night or day?
nighttime.
Okay. What time?
I don't know.
I don't know. Middle of the night? Early evening?
I don't know. Have any idea what time it was.
So did it wake you up?
We were already up.
Okay. So you hadn't gone to sleep yet.
No. Ken slept in his truck. Me and Don slept in a tent. The tent was terribly uncomfortable. And we didn't have any kind of pads or anything. So we had to just sit up talking for a long time. I also took some thermal images of the night sky. And you can see all kind of look like UFOs or something flying around up there, making these real sharp turns and stuff. Now, I don't know exactly what they have up there in the way of wildlife, that fly at night like that. Maybe it was something that they have up there anyway, but it looked like a lot of those videos that you see on TV, what people say they're UFOs. So, I have that thermal images.
The same thing happened up in my area A when I had Eric up there, and he actually had night vision goggles, and he was sitting in his lawn chair, leaned way back, just looking up at the sky for about almost an hour, and he counted 20, what he would say over 20 UFOs. They clearly weren't planes. They clearly weren't satellites. They were making right-angle turns. They'd stop for a while in place, and then all of a sudden they'd zip off at ridiculous speed. All this kind of stuff that normal things in the sky don't usually do. And he was just blown away by it. He's like, "Oh my God, there's so much activity up here above this mountain range right now."
Well, these have never been looked at by people that might know what they're looking at. I took it, but when I did that, it was on a lark.
Right.
I wasn't looking for anything. I just aimed it to the sky, and here comes these things. They were either warm bodies or it was hot for some reason.
Huh.
And they were just round, and they went,
Yeah.
just ridiculous sharp cornering.
Yeah.
But they were way up there. I mean, you can tell they were way up there. You can see the clouds with that thermal.
Yeah, same thing with him. He was looking, we're on top of a mountain range already, and he's looking way the hell up at the night sky, and there's all these little dots doing weird things flying around up there, and he's like, "What the hell what am I looking at here?" It wasn't bugs close to the ground, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you just kind of knew you were in a special place.
Yeah.
I mean, you're surrounded by some of the God's country, and it's also strange country.
Area of high strangeness.
Yeah, it's like volcanic. I hate to use the term volcanic, but I got that impression. We found a lot of these. Well, I think I have one right here. Hold on. Let's see. That came from there. You got to look at it with a magnification, but I'll try to put it up here. You can see the little jewels and stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
See the crystals? That stuff, and this is like an ash matrix that's hardened into stone. These are little, one's green if you put a strong light on it, and the other one is, well, I can't tell. put a phone light on it. Like little diamonds or rubies or whatever. I don't know my gems.
Some kind of gemstones.
Like I'm probably the most unqualified person to ever go anywhere on this line. You know, I can tell you some things about some things, but you know, I'm just up there, just trying to gather data. You know, trying to learn, and a little bit like Mr. Magoo. You know, you kind of stumble into things.
So was that the first night you were up there when you heard the vocals?
What? No, it was at night while we were camping.
Yeah, was it the first night you were camping?
I only camped one night.
Oh, okay, one night.
Yeah.
I thought you were up there more than one night.
No, just one night.
So was there?
I went there twice, but I only went there. I didn't camp the first one. Me and Eric stayed in the motel.
Oh, okay. So was there any other discernible activity while you guys were there besides the vocals you heard? How far away do you think that was?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because we heard it back up toward the Matterhorn, but all around us, we were down in like a canyon type thing. The river's right here beside us, and it's like real steep rock walls, and it was up on those rock walls.
Okay, so probably up above you somewhere.
Yeah, above me.
Then of course that'll echo all over the damn canyon, so it's
well, you know, I don't really know
right
that it was. It could have been something, you know, that was flying. You know, I don't know. You know, I don't know what kind of animals they have up there. Condors? They got any condors or anything?
Not that I know of. Of course, I haven't been there.
It wouldn't be flying at night.
Yeah, definitely not. You'd have to ask the local Jarbidgians what kind of fauna they've got up there.
Now, Don was he was our social person. He was responsible for talking to people and relaxing them and getting their stories. And he would talk. He talked to these people at this. I have to get him sometime on here and let him tell you what they told him. But he was the man. You know, we just sit around drinking coffee at the table eating. But Don, he's done went over and met everybody there.
Yeah.
Talked to the cook. and gotten a story or two out of him, you know. That he's real good at that. He wrote 2 books of depositions from different people, you know, that he had met. They told him their story.
Right on.
Really good books.
Pretty cool, man. So what's your analysis of the area now that you've been there twice and taken a look at it?
I want to go back. I want to go back to the Matterhorn on that river side of it, and make our way up, you know, a little farther as we can up it, because I think that's probably where they are. It's where those tracks were pointing.
Right.
Put this thing off and on. I can tell. I just touched the button accidentally. Now, how fresh you say it is?
Well, it appears to be possibly yesterday's track, because Ken just pointed out that his track, compared to it in the 2 parts, only a yard apart, the same soil top. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that track is you're standing right behind it, but it's just a flat distance apart to step from right foot to left foot.
And the other one was up here.
Yeah, but see,
that's the other one.
Left, right, left.
Yeah, right. There's another mark right there.
It looks like to me that's the right foot here, the left foot right here by this rock area, and then over there it went right and left again. It appears that way.
Yeah. I'm filming now, so.
Well, I'll lay the glove down.
Yeah, leg glove. Don't lay it on it, though.
I won't lay it on it.
It's just dust.
I know what to do. Just put the right there.
All right. I'm filming it.
That gives it more of a definition for the possible. That could be one. Very well could.
Yeah. It's in the right place, that's for sure. This area.
Other
Well,
than
yeah.
that, it's so wild to leave that trail. It's so wild. I mean, there's lakes up there, way up high.
That'd be a good place to go camping.
Yeah,
Right?
any of those places like that, Alpine Lake like that.
Yeah.
That's
Make sure you got.
probably where you gonna find them.
Yeah. And just make sure you got a flamethrower with you in case it's a giant and not a Bigfoot.
Flamethrower.
Yeah. We all know that giants don't like being burned alive. Lovelock Cave.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you there. It's a sore subject.
Speaking of which, we're going to be doing another show here at some point in the future where we're going to talk about when MK was at Lovelock Cave. Again, with Dangerous Don Monroe, and some of his escapades down there in the desert Southwest. And he even got slow motion video of Don falling off a cliff, so you can look forward to that.
I never thought of it like that, but you're right. That's what it is.
I mean, everybody's used to seeing all the standard video of Don falling off things. It's nice to have some slow motion video to look at.
You can take a glass of water and throw it on those rocks, and it'll absorb that water. It won't even flow off of them.
Good God, that's really dry.
I haven't seen anything like that in my life.
Well, this is a dry waterfall that he was like trying to climb down for some reason.
Yeah, he was gonna go over, like going over the falls.
Right.
He was just gonna sit on there and go over, and somehow or another he got sideways on the way down. And when he hit, it threw him over on against this boulder, and he hit his head on the boulder. And I feel guilty about filming it, but I told him, I said, Don, if you're going to do it, I don't want to film it. He said, okay. So I filmed it at high speed where it would be slow motion. I filmed it 300 frames a second. He's like,
oh, God. poor Danger Don.
he's rubbing his head.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, to be hurt in a place like that is, you almost have to not think about it. Because if you think about it, you're not going to. If you get hurt back in a place like that, there's no real help.
No.
You have to help yourself or just stay back there.
It's better to not go back to places like that if you're just by yourself, because the chance is too good that if you get hurt, you're going to be screwed and you ain't going to be able to get out again. So if at least you got one other person can walk out and try and get you help before the cannibal giant shows up and eats you, you've got some kind of chance.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, that in my escapades or expeditions or whatever, that it has really made my life more meaningful. So I'm glad I'm still here, that I didn't suffer any kind of a serious fall or anything. But you do have to be especially careful. You have to be aware where you put your feet, where you put your hands. It's what type of soil you're walking on. so far, I managed to stay on my feet and managed to stay upright, vertical. But I've watched Don go down several times.
Yeah.
And look, I don't like it. I don't get me wrong. I'm not laughing or guffawing at him. I'm my heart's beating, boom, out of my chest when he does that. It scares
Oh,
the
yeah.
heck out of me.
I got somebody out in the woods with me and they get hurt or something. It just terrifies me because, you know, like, A, they just got hurt, and B, now I might have to drag them out of the woods if they can't walk or anything. It's my responsibility now if they break a leg or something. I was filming Mike. Mike has left something back at this giant teepee structure, and it's not very far, and he wants to go back there and grab it. And I'm standing up on the roadbed, you know, a good 15 feet up above him, filming him running through the woods. And all of a sudden his foot catches on this one log, and he just eats it. I mean, he like goes down on his face in all these thick bushes. You can't see him at all. He's just like, poof, gone. And he stands back up again. He goes, I'm okay. And he keeps running. He's okay. It's like, you didn't learn anything. You just got hurt because you're running through these bushes. You couldn't see where you're going. You eat it right on your face. You get right back up and you do the same damn thing again. And it looked brutal. It looked like he got mangled. I actually got video of that. I don't know if I'd be able to find it and dig it out for you guys, but if I can, I'll show it.
You get that adrenaline pumping. You know, the adrenaline. Yeah, you can have broke arms and legs and all kind of stuff and still feel okay.
Oh,
Adrenaline, but your heart won't take adrenaline very long.
no.
It's just designed to get you out of a bad situation. That's what God put in us. You emit that stuff out of your brain when you have extreme fear or extreme emotion. And everything is like you're twice as strong, you're twice as acute. You see things to tiny, tiny little details, but you can't keep it up.
Yeah.
Can't keep it up or your heart will stop.
Yeah. And that's why the Flash couldn't exist in real life, because he would just die.
Yeah, right. He couldn't keep it up.
Yeah.
You could imagine if you could tolerate adrenaline and you could just take adrenaline, synthetic adrenaline, what it would do for performance.
It'd be ridiculous.
Somebody pitch you a baseball, you could see the seams rotating in slow motion. Just pick your sweet spot and hit it. But
yeah, that goes with anybody that's had one of those traumatic experiences, car wrecks or something, where they go, and then everything went in slow motion.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
I was in a motorcycle wreck and it did the same thing. It was I had time to plan how I was going to land.
That's convenient.
Yeah, they launched. I got hit from behind at a red light. I was on a motorcycle, and it threw me through the air, and I could see all the little pebbles in the asphalt. I could have counted them. I mean, now I could see that well. My eyesight was suddenly twice as good, and when I landed, I rolled over. And I caught the bumper of the truck. It's still coming toward me. And it skidded on up to me, and it made me slide just a little bit, and it came to a rest. I ended up having to have my gallbladder removed. It popped a rib out of my sternum.
Ow.
Yeah, it was painful, and I still have problems from it. But I never forget the effect of adrenaline.
Yeah.
People do some fantastic things when they get a little burst of that stuff.
Yeah, like moms lifting cars off people when they're trapped underneath them and stuff like that. Yeah, that's all adrenaline.
It happens.
It's real. So, was there any clips that you sent or anything that we didn't reference yet, or did we get everything?
This just meanders through. You can almost walk anywhere through all this. It's kind of interesting. There's a trail that runs right through there too, and I can see it.
Why do you think somebody would do this? Go through the trouble of putting
Yeah,
those.
it's definitely broke. Like broke. Like someone crushed
Yeah.
them. What's going on here? Nothing. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I guess you can just keep on going along this ridge.
Yeah, it just stays open up no matter where you're at, really.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, okay.
And like I said, I got permission from Kelly Shaw to use all the video from his expeditions over there. So I'll have lots of stock video running in the background.
Well, Kelly Shaw's the reason I decided to go there. Because I watched his videos on there. On that, when he had them on YouTube.
Uh-huh. Well, he still got them up.
Look, he did some good work.
Yep.
You gotta believe that Kelly's gonna be there somewhere when they find one of these things.
He'll probably be the one there that's following the tracks, filming them when they find one. I'll see a Bigfoot and Kelly will pop out of the woods behind him going, "Look, there's a Sasquatch right there," trying to film him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he does a really good job. Does a really good job putting the videos together too. They're not only entertaining, but there's a lot to learn.
And we're going to have Kelly back for our annual installation of updates with Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization here shortly as well. And he's going to bring us up to date on all the cool stuff that he found over the last year, as well as the more outstanding clips, pictures, and whatnot that he got sent into him from other people. So that'll be a heavy Bigfoot packed episode right there with Mr. Rocky Mountain Sasquatch himself, Kelly Shaw. Looking forward to doing that one. I talked to Kelly actually, I was talking to Kelly earlier yesterday about Jarbidge. And in case I didn't already mention it, he gave us permission to use some of the video that he's filmed while he was over there. So some of the stuff you guys have been seeing on the show here was actually filmed by Kelly himself at some point. And thank you for your kind permission to use your video, Kelly. Really appreciate it, bud.
Is it a hot spot? Would you call it a hot spot?
Well, I don't know if I would or not. There's enough. How do you judge what's a hot spot?
I guess if you have multiple sightings or multiple encounters.
Well, then there's probably qualifies as a hot spot. Again, it's kind of hard to tell because in order to have a Bigfoot sighting, you have to have three things. You have to have a Bigfoot, you have to have somebody sight it, and then you have to have them report it. So how many actual Bigfoot sightings were there over there? Was there people not reporting it, or was there people not seeing them at all? How many of the people that have seen them have reported it? The town's population is tiny. So are there sightings over there? Absolutely. Is there evidence they're over there? Absolutely. How many are over there? We don't know. But judging by the wilderness, it could support a lot of them.
I want to go back. We'll see. We'll see if I make it back.
Maybe we can Kelly to go up there at the same time.
I'd love to do that.
That's kind of closer to where he's at. And like I said, he had game cams up there and stuff for a few years, and it was so damn far to drive to even service them. He took the game cams out and brought them back again.
As far as you can go and not be coming out somewhere else.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what he said.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. He actually swore up and down until recently that was the most isolated spot in the lower 48. And then he was looking at a video I sent him, and he goes, "Yeah, okay, the Wind River Range in Wyoming has it beat."
Yeah, but what they say they are that nobody else is an incorporated town.
Yeah.
With a post office and you got to have a post office and a what do you call it, postal zip code.
Right. And it's an actual incorporated town.
Yeah. That's what their claim to fame is. The farthest town. They have fire hydrants.
Okay, that's amazing. I wouldn't quite expect that.
Don't ask me how they do it, but I didn't see any firemen.
No.
But I saw
Well,
fire hydrants.
I mean, as far as that goes, all you need for a town that small is one truck that can pump water on it, and a tank on it would probably be enough to cover it. It's not like the whole town's going to burn down simultaneously.
It might be just to get out of town, if they have a wildfire.
Yeah,
Just everybody go out on that truck.
yeah.
And you'll be spraying water out of it.
All righty then. I think we got her pretty much covered.
All right. I sure appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
I always appreciate having you on here again. If you guys haven't already done it, go over and subscribe to Greenwave FB 2010. That is MK's counterintuitive name for his channel. And doesn't say MK Davis or Bigfoot or anything on it. It's Greenwave FB 2010. 2010.
You can also go to the davisreport.wordpress.com.
There's the actual website.
That's an actual WordPress site, and it's got a lot of stuff on it.
So there you go. If you manage to go through all of his, 800 videos or something that he's got on YouTube, and you still want more.
I lost count.
There's a good sign. It's probably around 800. I think I looked a while ago. Hey, you just make short little videos so you can crank them out faster. I usually do one that's like an hour long or something, and I'm up to almost 450 videos.
Well, my average is going up a little bit, because I'm getting into some of the details, the more extended explanations are needed, and my average length of my videos are moving up. I used to keep them under, it'd be like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think at one time when you first start out, they don't allow you to go over 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you build credibility with them.
Yeah.
And then they give you more privileges,
Yeah, the rules keep changing all the time. Yeah. I'm not allowed to go over 15 hours on a video right now, so I got to keep them shorter. Only 2 or 3
hours.
Gosh. Non-stop live stream, 24 hours a day for the next 3 years.
I don't want to be putting out too much of a good thing.
Yeah. If I'm not actually live online, I'll put some pre-recorded stuff up until I get back to the mic. It's going non-stop from here on out. Oh, good Lord. There's channels that do that. They just have loop stuff, and they'll just play it over and over and over again till the end of time, apparently. But, all right. Well, thanks so much for being here again. Really appreciate it. Everybody out there, you know what the rules are. Follow them implicitly. Do not get hurt or anything. Make sure to not go out on research expeditions by yourself, especially if you don't tell anybody else where you're going. Always tell somebody where you're going and when they should expect you to be back. And at least one person, have it set up that if you don't call them by a certain point, they can start getting worried because you were supposed to check in by then. And if something happens to you, the sooner you can get somebody to realize something's gone amiss and get help there, the better the chance you're going to survive it. So take this warning very, very seriously. Don't forget the 2 guys in Skamania that froze to death around Christmas time. Take all this stuff very seriously. It's no joke. It's no laughing matter. You can go out in the middle of nowhere by yourself. Not a good plan. And even if you got people with you, make sure that everybody understands what's going on and that they've all got the equipment that they need with them. Any last words, MK?
No. I look forward to the next one. But thank you for bringing this all back.
Yeah.
For me. After a while, you forget about what all you did, and it just brings it back fresh.
And it's fun for the listeners and the viewers out there too, because a lot of them don't, you're just like the guy that does the video breakdown thing. They don't realize that, hey, this guy's actually been out and done a lot of field research in a lot of different places. He goes and puts boots on the ground, looks into it. So to me, that's an even higher level of qualifications than just being a a guy that's working on video all the time.
Yeah, well, they go hand in hand. The video. If you, I've been working on the Patterson film. The Patterson film is panned out to be authentic. Well, then that's an inspiration to go.
Well, you've inspired a lot of people. I mean, honest to God, M.K. Davis was Thinker Thunker before Thinker Thunker was M.K. Davis. So there you go.
All right.
I love you guys. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you here next Sunday.
All right. Down and we'll go over. I'm in my own light, that's the only thing. That's not any way to do that. I'm gonna be in my own shadow no matter what I do. It gives you some depth perception. I'm not even filming. It didn't even take. Yes I am, yes I am. I was about to get peeved. It is. Wow. Don't go fast, because that amplifies a mistake. We got plenty of time. Nothing like going backwards down a mountain. How's your brakes? Brakes are good. And slow down. You don't want them to get hot because they'll fail.
Yeah. But we're kind of flat right now, so let them cool off.
All right.
That has never happened to me before.
So you think that smell was your clutch?
It had to have been, because it did the same thing over there. Which is weird, because that wasn't that steep.
No, it really wasn't. I've gone up plenty of mountains that higher than that.
I'm really
Steeper than that.
Kind of weirded out by that.
You'll find stuff around in these local towns that are steeper than that.
A sec.
Yeah, just keep going and build up speed.
Well, I don't want to get us up there in a scenario where it bogs out again and then...
Somebody carved their name in that tree. Look, isn't that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Go up that far. Let's see what that says. Mark Abana, 2012. Okay. It is. Wow. Don't go fast,
because that amplifies a mistake. We got plenty of time. Nothing like going backwards down a mountain. How's your brakes? Brakes are good. And slow down. You don't want them to get hot because they'll fail. Yeah. But we're kind of flat right now, so we'll let them cool off. All right.
That has never happened to me before.
So you think that smell was your clutch?
It had to have been, because it did the same thing over there. Which is weird, because that wasn't that steep.
No, it really wasn't. I've gone up plenty of mountains that higher than that.
I'm really
Steeper than that.
kind of weirded out by that.
I mean, you'll find stuff around in these local towns that are steeper than that.
Wait a sec.
Yeah, just keep going and build up speed.
Well, I don't want to get us up there in a scenario where it bogs out again and then...
Somebody carved their name in that tree. Look, isn't that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Go up that far. Let's see what that says. Mark Abana, 2012. Okay.
Yeah, this just meanders through. You can almost walk anywhere through all this. It's kind of interesting. There's a trail that runs right through there too, and I can see it.
Why do you think somebody would do this?
I don't know.
Go through the trouble of putting
Yeah,
those.
it's definitely broke. Like broke, like someone crushed
Yeah.
them. What's going on here? Nothing. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I guess you can just keep on going along this ridge.
Yeah, it just stays open up no matter where you're at, really.
Well, let's go.
And here. And here. And here. And here.